Hi, my name is Shirley. We're going to talk about silver today. I've had about 28 years of using colloidal silver, and then we got the silver shield, and they're completely like night and day. And I'm going to explain to you how it's night and day. First, we're going to start out with the colloidal silver. 28 years ago, I used to sell out of my house, and people would come knocking at the door and wanted different herbs. And because I had classes there. I had classes there for 3 years, and then I had classes at the restaurant for 3 years. So they knew that I sold herbs. And so anyway, this one lady came. It was late at night. She just came from the hospital. I've never forgot it, never. She came knocking on the door, and she says, I want 2 bottles of colloidal silver. And I said, what for? She said, my son was in an accident, and it was down below us, a railroad track. And the railroad track, the blinkers lights didn't go on, and the 18-year-old boy and the 15-year-old boy ran right into the train. While it was going, they couldn't see the train because there was no blinkers, and it was late at night. And so the 18-year-old boy died, but the 15-year-old boy was still alive, and he was in the hospital, and she said his liver exploded, and if they couldn't get the fever down, they was going to do a liver transplant, and she didn't want that. So she said, give me the silver. I said, they won't let you in the hospital. She said, I will take it to the hospital in my purse. I said, okay. So I remember, because she was very, very dogmatic about it. She said, I'm going to get it to him. She took both bottles. Later on, she came back and she said he didn't have a fever. She got it down. He didn't lose his liver, and now he's fine. And that was many, many years ago, and he's still fine. So I thank God for the colloidal silver that I had on hand at that moment. And then the second time with the colloidal silver, before we got the silver shield, was our dog, Sergeant Blackie. Sergeant Blackie was about, I don't know, we kept him, he died when he was 16, so I think he must have been 12 or 13 at this time. When the full moon came out, he would go, he wasn't fixed, so he would go do his little thing. And anyway, he would disappear, and what happened was he got in a fight. He was always getting into fights, and Stoney my husband came to me and he said, Shirley, his brain's hanging out. I said, his what? And through his ear, this was hanging out like this. I said, okay, go get some gloves on. He got some gloves on. We put this gel, it's Silver Shield gel, and I just put just a whole bunch on his hands, and I said, now push it back in. And he did, and I said, now just leave him alone. And we did, and he got well, and he's fine, and because there was nothing we could do. I mean, he was in a fight. And so, but that Silver Shield, I know that really helped that dog to come out of what he had done. And then the other time was my husband. Here I'm sitting in the shop, and here comes my husband with all this blood in his hands. And he had sliced his hand all the way across, like diagonal, and it was open up. I said, oh, you're going to have stitches. He said, I don't have time. I'm burning trash. Just put something on it and let me go. So I put the Silver Shield on, put just as much as I could, had a big Band-Aid, put it on there, let him go. And after a day or two, I said, you better take that off and let me put a new one on. We took it off, and I went into shock. It was completely healed. I mean, he was already in his middle 70s back then. I mean, it wasn't not just when he was in his 60s. And he healed, and I was just in shock how fast that healed. But when you can get bacteria away from a cut, it can heal very, very fast. And I know my oldest daughter, she said that she has this in almost every room, every car, because my grandson, when he was small, the first time he got sick was in kindergarten. And from then on, before he went to kindergarten, he would wash his hands. He would put this on his hands, and you rub it on your hands, and then you let it dry for 2 minutes. and then you're disinfected for 4 hours. And after that, he never did get sick. But before that, he was getting sick. And she said one time he smashed his finger in the door, and he said, "Mom, go get the medicine." And he got it. And this was not for a smashed finger, but she put it on. She said he quit yelling or crying or whatever he was doing, and he thought that fixed it. He was fine. And so she said she used this all the time. And so I think one time she told me she had like 5 or 6 containers of it around the house. I was in shock, but she said, use it. And she said, you just don't have no trouble. And from then on, every time he came home, he would wash his hands and put this on, and before he went, and it kept the infection down, and he never really ever got sick. Then the next time with my husband. Here he come walking in, blood coming down his head. And I went, "What did you do now?" And he had, we have a container out there for trash, a big trash container, and the lid had came down and hit him in the head. And so it made a big hole in his head. And I cleaned it up and put this on there. And after that, it healed really, really fast. So anyway, between my husband and the dog, I used this a lot. Then later on, probably after 10 or 15 years, they came out with the new one. And this is called Silver Shield. And they first came out with a 4-ounce bottle. And the 4-ounce bottle, they told us that they would send it over to Africa. That it was 800,000 babies die of malaria a year over there. And it took 2 bottles. And then later they came out with these other bottles, and they gave you 2 ounces free. But the 4-ounce was 2 4-ounces is what we got, helped to get rid of the malaria. And then later on, people wanted more and more and more, and they had this one for at least 6 or 7 years. Then they came out with a 16-ounce. And 16 ounce, that means if you bought one of these, or you could buy this and get 2 of these free inside, because this would be 4 of 4 ounces. This is 1 4-ounce for the price. And later on, they came out with a 32-ounce. And I didn't think they would like it, because my older people, I thought they would drop it. And so I didn't bring it in. But finally, I did bring it in, and they bought it, because instead you bought this for one price, got this, and you got 2 free ones. And this one, you got 4 free ones. And time you figured it out, this was much, much cheaper. So we used it quite a bit. And we met the doctor that invented this. He was not only a doctor, but he's a scientist. And my husband was with me. I had just won a trip to the Bahamas. And when we're on the ocean, he would do the teaching. And Dr. Peter Pedersen, he wrote this book too. This is where I got a lot of my information. Gordon Pedersen. I've got DVDs of him too. There he is right there. I have like 3 DVDs. He's got all the research material. He's done everything. I mean, over in Japan, they was doing a research on which silver was better, and they had over 20 silvers over there in Japan. And they tested it, they boiled it, they froze it, and ours, out of all 20, was the last one that was the strongest one. And so I was quite amazed. And when we was on the ship, he said that when you look on the side, it tells you potency, but he said, honestly, you don't have to go by that, because he said the potency is 10 years plus. This one woman, the ones that he did very first was an 85-year-old lady that dropped a pot of coffee on her legs, and they got infected, and they wanted to grab it to her arms, but she was so thin and skinny she couldn't do it, and legs got infected, and they called him and they said they had this lady and they was going to have to cut off her legs because it was infected. And so he took this and he started spraying it first, because you couldn't touch her legs, And then finally he got this and started putting it on. And in 6 weeks, she walked out of the hospital on her own legs. And he's got videos of that and showed that, all that you can do. But let me tell you, this silver, what you do, and a lot of people don't know this. This is not like regular silver that you buy at the grocery store. This has got a 10,000 voltage on it, and it says right here, 10,000 voltage of AC, while the old colloidal silver had 110 volts of DC, but this one has 10,000 volts. And what you do is you hold it in your mouth for 6 minutes, and a lot of my customers, I can't do it for 6 minutes. Well, then do it for 3 minutes. But what you're trying to do is get it to go down into the station tubes, and when it does, it's much stronger, and then it kills staph in 6 minutes. It kills viruses, bacteria. It will kill as long as you hold it in there. And then you can put it in the eyes. I have ladies that can see better now because they put it in their eyes, because a lot of times when you use mascara and all that stuff over and over again and you don't clean the brush with, you can dip this down in the brush and disinfect it. The bacteria will grow and it'll affect your eyes. And so they put the drops in their eyes at night. They put the drops in the baby's eyes, in the cat's eyes, the dog's eyes. I hear about every drops about, but they said there's no mucus in the eyes anymore or anything like that. And so they've been quite impressed. And one lady, I showed her how to do it with her brand new baby, because she had a baby and it kept on getting earaches. And I think it was her 5th or 6th baby. And anyway, after I showed her how to do it, she went around to all her friends that had babies that were screaming and crying, and she was doing it to them. And because I asked her, I said, what have you been doing all afternoon? She said, going from baby to baby, putting this in the ear, and then she would rub it around the ear like this, massage it, and she said they quit crying. And a lot of times it was just a small little earache that they had. It's an immune enhancer. It helps with bad breath. It helps. You know, one thing it said today, and I was quite amazed. Did you know that you can spray it on your hair when you have itchy scalp and let it dry? And a lot of times that's when people got candida, and it will kill the candida or the dandruff that's on your hair. And if you keep doing it every day, it will dry it out, and it will help with bruises. It would help with bug bites, burns. It would help with cataracts, chicken pox, pink eye. It will help with hepatitis, diaper rashes. It will help with diaper rashes, seizures. If you use this cold, get it out of the refrigerator and put it on your eye, it lift your eye up for 2 solid hours, they said. And it lifts the eyes up if you get it really cold out of the refrigerator. And dogs can use it. 20 pounds, you use a half a teaspoon for every 20 pounds. And it says it leaves the body within 24 hours. And so it's something that's safe. We have used it in our family for 28 years. And it's something that it's helped a lot of people, So I would say enjoy your silver, but make sure you get the right one. And people say, is it one that turned blue? No. That's one that you hand make, because you didn't take it through this extra filter system that takes the heavy metal out of it. But this one has no heavy metal. It's been taken through many filters and everything like this. And this is a clean silver. So have a great day.